name is Max.
And I'm Kelvin.
And we're hosting So You Wanna Be a... Today, we're going to be exploring the world of software engineering. We brought in Jacob Moncur.
Hey guys.
He is a software engineer from Crumble Cookies, and he is here to tell us about his job. So, just what's the coolest thing about your job?
Let's see. What's the coolest thing about my job? I think the coolest thing about my job is every day I'm solving problems. Big problems, small problems. That's part of what I love to do is solve problems. That's why I became a software engineer. And I like to solve problems by writing code and making software to do that.
Oh, so what are the problems that you solve? Like, what kind of?
That's a great question. So with my work for Crumble Cookies is a cookie shop, and they sell cookies, and they want to be able to tell all the people about their cookies. So one of the problems we solve is how can we tell people about their cookies? So what we did is we wrote an app, and it's a really cool app, and it shows you all the cookie flavors with these beautiful images, and it tells you when new cookies are coming out and when your favorite cookies have came back, and it makes it super easy to order cookies that come from the store right to your door in less than an hour, which I think is pretty great.
Sweet. So why did you originally want to become a software engineer?
I kind of stumbled into it. When I was a teenager, when I was a kid, I loved music, and I thought music was so cool. And so I had microphones and guitars and all this electronic equipment. And when I had all that electronic equipment, it made me want to tinker with it. So I'd take it apart and I'd put it back together. And that really got me in this itch of I think I like engineering. And so when I went to college, I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be electrical engineer. And while I was doing that, I realized that electrical engineering, what I loved about tinkering and playing with things was actually solving the problems. And while electrical engineering was really fun and I enjoyed it, I found that I could solve more and different problems while writing code and learning to code. So I learned to write code to solve problems, and I thought it was super fun. So that's why I became a software engineer.
Sweet.
Can you tell us what to do as a software engineer in quick and simple ways?
Yeah, so a software engineer has a lot of different names to it. So you may have heard coder or programmer or software engineer. All those things are basically the same thing. And what we do is we use code, we make code to control computers. So if you ever used an app on your phone, you guys ever use one?
Yes.
Or have you ever been to a website before?
Definitely.
Yes.
All of those things are made with code, and some software engineer, some coder, some programmer in the world wrote it. And that's what I do.
What stuff do you have to learn to do? What do you have to learn? Speaking Spanish, you have to learn Spanish. What did you have to learn?
Oh, that's a great question. So the first thing is you got to have a desire to solve problems. I keep saying this, I'm sorry guys. Solving problems, because we're always finding problems and coming up with solutions for it. So, I mean, if you go around your house and you ever kind of see problems man, it's kind of a pain to feed my dog every day. I wonder if I could make something or solve this problem to make it a little bit easier for me. That's a problem to be solved. So first you want to care about solving problems and making things easier and making things better. And then next, it's so important to learn to code. And there's lots of really cool ways to learn to code. When I was your guys' age, there wasn't as many resources, but I did have a class when I was in third grade where we made a website. And that was really fun. And so I first learned, that was probably my first time I ever touched code. And then later in life, I wrote some more code. In fact, I wanted to play a prank on my friends one time. And so I made this device. It was called a caps locker. It's basically this little thing that if you plugged it into your computer, it would turn on and off the caps lock. So if somebody was typing, the letters would go all wonky. And I was like, oh, this is so cool, but I don't know how to make it work. So I actually had my dad, he said, hey, we can write some code that will do this. So I put together the device and he helped me write the code. So I learned to code there, and then I kept learning, and there's so many cool things like iPad apps and YouTube videos that teaches you how to code now that anyone could learn. You guys could learn how to code and make apps and build websites right now. And that's what I had to do. I had to learn to want to solve problems and learn how to code.
If you could have any superpower to help you to help you at your job, what would it be?
Oh, that's a really good question. Kate, you're gonna have to help me with this one, guys. There's a superpower where you can like control machines with your mind. What's that?
I think it's called telepathy
Electro-telepathy.
or machine telepathy. It's like telepathy where you can read, or telepathy is where you can read minds. Electro mean or machine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just I don't know what tele means, but telepathy, it like reading minds. So I would guess electro-telepathy, something
cool.
like that.
Yeah, well, that would be the one because so in my job, we write code to tell a computer what to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that code gives instructions and it shows cool buttons and screens. Sometimes it doesn't always work, and sometimes you don't know why. When code's not working, you don't know why. We call them bugs. We're like, we gotta find what the bug is. Why isn't this working? There's some kind of bug. And so if I had electro-telepathy and I could just like control the computer with my mind, then all my problems at my work would go away because I'd always be able to just tell the computer what to do. Pretty
Wow.
cool. I know, pretty cool.
That's actually really smart. Is there something like this, like you do in your job, and it just sounds so fun, and then it's like eating tons of cotton candy? Everybody's like, I would like cotton candy, I could eat it all day, and then you actually eat it all day, and it's like terrible. Is there anything like that in your job?
Oh, so is there anything that like sounds really fun, but it ends up being kind of boring?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys ever seen like a coder on a movie before? Like a hacker?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So hackers are software engineers too, a special kind, but they're this, and they look super cool when they're doing. They're like pull out their computer and their fingers are going, you know, they're typing really fast, and they're like, I've broken through the network, we're almost in, and I've almost hacked the system. That makes it look super cool, like writing code and like hacking systems. But really, like writing code, it like takes a while. It takes a long time and it takes a lot of thought. So it looks really cool on the movies, but it really just kind of takes a long time to do it. It's kind of like, I think of if you were to carve something out of wood, you know, like you see this block of wood and you know what you want it to be, but you just kind of like slowly chip away at the pieces there. That's kind of like what writing code is like. For some people, that can be super boring. For me, it's very enjoyable. I like writing it, but it just kind of depends on the person.
I need to talk to you.
When you tell people about your job, what's something that they always like assume? They're like, oh, you must like know this or do this or blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's really funny. This happens all the time, especially to software engineers. So there's a joke among people who have my job, who are also coders or software engineers, that we are automatically the person who has to fix the printer or the Wi-Fi at anybody's house whenever it's broken. Everyone's like, oh, wait, you write code? You could definitely fix my printer. And while I can fix your printer, those two are not the same thing. So everyone thinks I can fix their printer and fix their Wi-Fi. But I can't.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah.
Okay. So what is your work environment like? Like, what is it like? Do you have super comfy chairs and big, gigantic computers? What is it like?
Oh, that's a good question. I like that one a lot. It kind of depends. So software engineers, because we work on our computers and we write code, we can actually work from anywhere. So some software engineers, they work in an office building, and you go to the office building, they got nice chairs and nice desks. Typically, software engineers, they have the biggest like computer screens that you'll ever see. They're huge because when you're like writing code, you want to see the code like everywhere. You got to see lots of it. Like, oh, part of my code over here does this thing, and part of my code over here does this. So you want these huge screens that help you see it everywhere. But so sometimes we work from an office with big comfy chairs, and the offices have like fun things like snacks and massage chairs and ping pong tables.
I suck at ping pong, but I really like playing it.
Yeah, it's fun. So it's not like part of your job, but some companies have them. But then some people like to work from their house because they can do that. Because again, you can take code anywhere and write code wherever you want to. So if you know that's the kind of thing that you like to do, you can make an office in your house and you work from home.
Sweet.
What advice would you give to kids who might want to do what you do when they grow up?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think everybody should learn to code and to write code. And there's so many ways to do this. Here's some of my favorite ones that I've done in the past year. So one is you can go on your mom and dad's iPad if they have one, and you can ask them to say, hey, like, I want this app called Playgrounds, Swift Playgrounds. And it's a cool app with a game that just teaches you how to code. And there's tons of them like that. So go and learn to code now because it's really fun to do as a kid. There's another one too. In fact, one time I bought this drone that I could control with code. And I could tell it to do things like move forward 10 meters, move backwards. And it was really fun to just code a toy. And there's tons of toys that you can learn to code today too. So my advice for anyone who wants to be a software engineer is start learning to code now because you can do it.
Oh, sweet. Okay, our final question, the most important, the Big Bang.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is probably white. That's it.
Sweet. Well, that's the end of our podcast.